this is Danny with Planets in Praxis, and this is your energy forecast for the month of April 2025. How you doing? March was a lot, right? I mean, it was a lot for me. Obviously, I'm recording in my car right now. There's been a lot of moving pieces. In March, we had so much happen. We had eclipse season, we have Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, and we had Neptune enter into Aries. And this all over the place. What is going on? I can't get a handle on anything. Energy is continuing as we begin the month of April. So this is really, I would say that March is still March until April 12th. And why is that? Because first off, eclipse season is not going to end until we have the full moon on April 12th. And so eclipses are big beginnings and big endings that seem to come out of nowhere, and they've just been in our face and we've been dealing with them. And so that'll clear out once we get to April 12th. Also, Mercury is retrograde still. Mercury will continue to be moving backwards until April 7th. And then we can start to finally clean up the mess that Mercury has been making in our logical brain. You maybe have been stuck in traffic. If you're like not able to speak, I'm having a hard time being tongue-tied right now. So this is normal. Mercury is in their least favorite place to be. We do not have access to clear communication right now. Also happening right now is that Venus is retrograde. This happened in March. It's continuing in April until April 12th, that same big day when things will start to turn around. And so we haven't really been able to feel love like we want to, really, okay? So feminine energy is having a hard time right now in the collective and in our personal lives. Our logic is having a hard time in the collective and in our personal lives. And this is all going to continue until April 12th. Now, on April 7th, when Mercury stations direct and starts going forward, we're going to start to slowly clean things up, okay? But it's not going to be until April 26th that this cycle is over and we can finally start moving forward. Mercury retrograde is that take one step forward, two steps back, right? So we want to look at everything as a blessing, but this is like, I'm having to do this over again. But usually when you're having to do things over again, you do it better the next time and you learn a lesson that makes you better for your life, right? So let's try to have a positive aspect, a positive outlook on this. Then, I'm really excited that Mercury is going to finally enter Aries on April 16th. So Mercury is hanging out in Pisces. Mercury does not do well in Pisces. So not only is Mercury retrograde, right? So everything is backwards in our brain, but Mercury is like trying to swim through a foggy ocean. And that is not where our logic wants to be. But when Mercury enters Aries, we'll be able to start going forward into ahead. Like Aries is warrior energy. So we're going to go forward, okay? So finally on April 16th, our thoughts should be working better. Now, continuing through this month, it started at the end of March, Neptune has entered Aries. Neptune takes a long time to stay in a sign, okay? So Neptune has been in Pisces since 2011, and where Neptune is brings idealism and maybe a little delusion, okay? So there has been an area of your life that has just been felt really slippery, okay? But probably really idealized, and you have probably been able to bring a lot of spirituality into that part of your life. And now it's going to change into another part, okay? And so you have probably noticed a big vibe shift. You probably have some different spiritual energy than you did at the beginning of the year, okay? And it's probably feeling more warrior, okay? More warrior instead of we're all one. We are all one. We are all still one. But now, how can we make things happen with this understanding of us all being one, if that makes sense? So how this is showing up in the collective is that the warrior go after it, make it happen energy. It's going to become more idealized, more in our face and front what we're trying to go towards, okay? So you've probably noticed that happening already, okay? We are going after things more instead of just accepting them as they are. Neptune is going to hang out in Aries until October. Then they will retrograde back into Pisces and we'll do some final cleanup in that area of our life. And then we'll stay in Aries for the next 15 years. So just be aware, like start paying attention to it. This is why we use astrology. We use it as a tool to make us more aware in our lives, more awake, more aware. That is what we are searching for. You are probably feeling some slipperiness in a part of your life that you haven't been feeling slippery. Go with it, okay? Sometimes things are supposed to slip away so that they can be built up in this more ideal way. All right, the final thing that I want to talk about is that Mars is finally leaving Cancer. Hallelujah. Mars does not do well in Cancer, okay? Cancer is like the mother, loving, taking care of you energy, and Mars wants to go out and accomplish things, okay? So it's like a warrior trying to fight a battle with a pillow. It just doesn't really work, okay? So Mars is very frustrated. And when Mars is frustrated, how that shows up in our life is that we feel like we have no energy, like we cannot make any forward movement. We can't go out and accomplish the things that we want to accomplish. And finally, Mars is going to leave Cancer. So Mars has been retrograde. Usually Mars will spend about 6 weeks in a sign, but we have been dealing with Mars in Cancer since September of last year, okay? That is a long time to feel like you can't make any forward movement. Now, we do need to watch out because Mars is going to oppose Pluto once Mars leaves Cancer and enters into Leo. This is the third and final chapter in this book that we've been reading of Mars, the warrior, looking across and arguing with Pluto, the god of the underworld. Okay, so how this is shown up in the collective is this happened the day before Election Day. Okay, and then it happened again right before the fires in California started. So just to like give you a little bit of a heads up, something's going to happen. Okay, so just be prepared. All right, and it doesn't necessarily going to show up in our personal lives, but this is a collective mundane event that is going to affect us. So just be aware that's coming up on April 26th. Start praying now, okay? And then we'll get through it and we're going to move forward. All right, so March and April of 2025 are really when the giant transition that 2025, the year where everything changes, happens. Okay, so it's really starting to happen right now. We are in a different world than we were last year. We are in a different world than we were in January. Okay, so this is what we're dealing with. How can we move forward, keeping our true selves, true to ourselves, leading with love, right? Always lead with love, okay? If you'd like to know more about how this is showing up in your life, in your chart, check out my website, planetsandpraxis.com. I'll see you guys in May.
Good morning. Welcome, One Love family. Welcome into this place and into this space of radical inclusion where our main focus, our main push, our main drive is love, joy, and peace. That's why we call ourselves One Love, One Heart. Let's get together and feel all right. Thank you to Danny for our forecast for the month, our astrological forecast for the month of April. Let's look at all of the celestials. Oh my. Portals open everywhere, all kinds of craziness. There's been a lot. And there's a lot we're going through right now. We are going through another level of transition. But with every transition comes the opportunity for transcendence and transformation. We're not in trouble. We're in transition constantly. This is what we need to remind ourselves of. Things are happening at a faster rate of speed than we maybe have been used to. We're in the process of evolving and becoming the best version of ourselves. And in that process, there's a lot of transition and there's transformation in the world. And some of it feels like a push. Some things feel like a contraction. Yesterday, there were protests worldwide, protesting authoritarianism and fascism and oligarchy and protesting the massive separation between the wealthiest of the wealthy and the poorest of the poor. And that's all in perfect timing because it's time for the human race, those of us who know that we are human, but we're divine beings in a human form, but we know that we're in this time of human curriculum. It's time for us to stand up and to really say that there's a better and bigger version and vision for humanity that we can have. And so we're doing that. We're in the process of that and pushing through it. So we're feeling some of the contractions from it. We're also in a series as a community, both One Love and First Unity Spiritual Campus, in a series titled Keys to the Kingdom or Queendom. And you know that we have been looking at, we started a few weeks back. Actually, this is going to be part 6 because I started in advance of the chapters that we have been in. And we've talked about making the commitment, and we've talked about expanding our vision, and we've gone through building a new awareness, a new consciousness, expanding and building space for that new consciousness. And now we're at the chapter that's talking about making room for the new. Somebody say, make room for the new. When I'm thinking this week about making room for the new, what happens in me is I hear words in my head like exhale. So many of us are holding our breath, wondering what's next. When's the next shoe going to drop? When's the next situation going to occur that's in adversity to what I want in my life? And so some of us are holding our breath. And the way to receive another fresh breath is to exhale. The words let go come to mind. The word release comes to mind. Unclench comes to mind. We've been talking a lot about that. The birds even agree. You hear them? They even agree that we should unclench. It is a lot of times that our clutching and our clenching that's creating such tension in our life. And remember this, when you're experiencing tension, it is asking you for your attention so that you can set forth the intention that you have for your life. So us learning to unclench is vitally important. And then the question also comes, and typically we approach this question during the Christmas season, is there any room in the inn, the internal lodging space of your being? Is there any room for more of the essence of Christ consciousness to be birthed in you, born in you? I mean, we're about to come into the Easter season because we're in the spring season. We're coming into the Easter season where we're talking about new life and resurrection. And so as we're doing that, the question is, are you allowing the life of Christ consciousness to be raised in you, to come forth out of you? And so is there any room in the inn? And when I'm exhaling, I'm making more room. There's something about the law of circulation that involves creating a vacuum. When you clear out and clean out, when you let go of things instead of hoarding, you begin to make space for more to come into your life. The density and the intensity of our beliefs are often what leaves us without room for anything new. So there's a call for a spring cleaning. There's a call for a spring clearing. That call for the spring cleaning and clearing may be in order right now so that we can make space. And this, of course, then reminds me of a lot of the principles we talk about, especially in New Thought, but Eastern thought around clearing space. We know the philosophy and the idea around emptiness. We understand that emptiness is not nothingness. It's not empty-headedness. It's making space. Spacious consciousness prepares us or gives us the ability to always be coming back to what's called, in at least in Buddhism, the beginner's mind. The beginner's mind is saying, I'm not going to be one who is an adherent to just a strict belief system. I am choosing to be open. I'm choosing to be a space through which that energy can constantly flow. And this is a huge part of abundance. It's a huge part of prosperity, is to be able to be empty and to be cleared, making room for the new. So that's what we're here to talk about this week, making room for the new. The usefulness of a cup lies in its empty space. You've heard me talk about this before, but I'm going to bring my Baba cup up here. This is a gift from Sadzi. This cup here would be useless if the material that is shaping the cup was one solid unit. It would be, and I say useless, I mean, I maybe could use it to set something on it, but I wouldn't be able to put anything into it. The usefulness of a cup lies in its empty space. The usefulness of your lungs lies in its empty space. The usefulness of your house is the empty space between the walls, the ceiling, and the floor. So this is about receptivity and learning. This is about receptivity and learning. Somebody say, I'm here to receive and I'm here to learn. A full cup is representative of a mind that is filled with beliefs, biases. And if it's filled with beliefs and biases, it cannot be filled with new information or a new perspective, and certainly not new inspiration. Emptiness is a space for adding new growth. Emptiness as a space for growth. We know that by emptying the cup, you create space for new ideas, new experiences, new levels of learning. You allow for your own personal growth. And then you can, when you allow space for personal growth, you experience transformation. So this idea of making space for the new has all of those philosophies in it. That when I'm making space for the new, I'm clearing out space. It is about personal growth. It's also about being humble and teachable. This whole concept of emptiness, this whole concept of making room for the new is about being humble and teachable. Being empty suggests a state of humility. It suggests a state of openness to learning from others. And if we listen to the wonderful teachings of Ram Dass, he used to say all the time that everyone and everything is your teacher. But if I have the density and intensity of congestion of beliefs, then I'm unable to learn anything else. So this humility, this part of the usefulness of a cup lies in its empty space. It speaks to the philosophy of being humble enough to learn. Somebody say, I'm humble enough to learn new things. It's also about giving and receiving. Some interpret the phrase as a reminder. This phrase about the usefulness of a cup lies in its empty space. Some refer to it or interpret this particular phrase as a reminder that giving allows receiving. Emptying the cup creates space for new things to fill it. So this idea of making room for the new, it's a space of humility, but it's also a place of openness and creating space so that something new can fill it. Jesus said, give and you will receive. Your gift will return to you in full, pressed down, shaken together, to make room for more, running over, and poured into your lap. The amount you give will determine the amount you get back. That's Yeshua ben Joseph. That's Jesus. The King James Version is, given it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over shall men give unto you. And just as you measure the gift, it will be measured back to you. Jesus used these terms because he wanted to communicate that whatever you give, you're going to get a lot more of in return. You're going to get a lot more of it in return because everything is a seed. And so as you give, it shall be given unto you, and it'll be measured in the way that you give it. And to me, that's energetic. It's about the energy. And as I'm giving, because we're talking about time, talent, and treasure, as we talk about keys to the kingdom and prosperity and abundance and all of those things, as I'm giving, I'm making room for more to flow to me. When you circulate substance, you keep the river of prosperity flowing freely in your life. As you're making space for it, as you are allowing yourself to clear away the old so that you can make room for the new, you are creating a free-flowing river of prosperity in your life. So number one, make room by removing clutter from your life. You've all heard me talk about the storage wars and how the storage industry got started. I know you've heard of Storage Wars. I think Storage Wars is actually a show or something on TLC. I think one of the major downfalls as a society of people coming out of the Great Depression has been a scarcity mentality. And that scarcity mentality has led us to hoarding and has led us to keeping things far too long. A scarcity and not enoughness kind of mentality has brought on fear. And that fear got passed down to and through your parents, your grandparents, or both. And as we have the tendency to do, we have improved upon that emotional habit by creating an entire billion-dollar business industry around storage. And we know that we have this mentality because these are common quotes to us. Well, you never know when you might need that. So don't give it away or throw it away. Keep it for the rainy day. These are all things that I grew up with, and we know that people have hoarder issues. They create TV shows around this stuff now. Storage, again, as I mentioned to you before, it was a nothing business. When I was growing up, there was really no such thing as storage. You certainly didn't drive by and see whole large acres of buildings for nothing but storage. And now it's a multi-billion-dollar business every year. There are people who have things in storage right now. They can't even remember what's in there. It may be eat up with mold or rust or bugs. And for some reason, they continue to pay the price to store the stuff just in case they need it. So not only is decluttering a great thing spiritually, it's also a wonderful thing emotionally for our mental health. Letting go clears the space and it creates more opportunity. So we are releasing and we're letting go. Number 2, open up your finances. Now, this is all about prosperity and abundance, but abundance is not all about finances. However, that is a portion of it. And so number 2, the point that I want to make today is to open up your finances. And I want to make this statement, and then I'll get into it maybe a little deeper if we have time later on. But the greatest trick money has ever performed was convincing us that it is real and that we are dependent on it. The way we do money is made up. It is an illusion. But it is the way of exchange we've chosen, and we still believe in enough to continue doing it. We continue to give our time to it. We continue to give our efforts to it. We continue to just be dependent on money. But the problem is that it's the clenching and it's the clutching that we tend to do with money that often chokes the life out of it, because it's the feeling of not enoughness. It's the scarcity mentality. We used to have this running joke that my dad was so tight he squeaked when he walked. His tightness was an installation from growing up in poverty and not enough and coming out of the Great Depression. He didn't even realize that the tightness was there, but it was a constant state of tightness and was never really friends with money. Now, that shifted a little bit, and as it shifted, so did his lifestyle. His lifestyle improved as he began to shift his feeling toward money, but there was such a scarcity mentality that there was a hoarding that was still there. It was almost an obsessive thing. You just never know when you might need that nail or that screw or that bolt. You never know when you might need that thing that's broken. It's broken and you can't even fix it and nothing to use it for, and it would sit there for years and years and years. But I don't want to give it up because I may have to have it. Many of us don't realize how much we are worried, stressed, overtly concerned about not having enough. So much so that we keep our financial supply closed down instead of opening. This is what I mean by opening up your finances. Give and it shall be given unto you. That's with the breath we breathe, with the time that we give to ourselves and to others, with the talents that we share with ourselves and with others, and our treasure. Opening up is not about giving everything you have to First Unity or to One Love or to any particular charity, but it's about having that gift of circulation running through your life. Let me give you an example of what I see as the natural flow of circulation in this life. And I think I shared this on Wednesday night. Can't remember for sure, but I think I did. I noticed that bees during this season of spring, they fly from flower to flower. The flower gives pollen, but the bees pick it up. So the flowers give an offering of pollen to the different bees that come by and land. But then the bees come by and pick up a little bit of the pollen and drop off a little bit to each other's space. And the way I saw that is that the source, God, is the flower. And it invites us to light on it, to experience it, to receive from it, and then to go from space to space and put that into circulation. It is natural to give and to receive. It is so natural that you're doing it in every moment through breathing. So open up your finances the same way you're opening up your heart. Number 3, from that space of prosperity, chart your course forward. Live in the moment, and from that now moment, set your intention for the life you want to create. Life only happens in the present. So when you're in that present moment and you're visioning and visualizing from that space, you're literally injecting your vision with life force. You're putting life force into the vision so that as you are sitting in that present moment, setting forth the goals for which you want to achieve, you're injecting it with life. You are giving life to the goals that you have chosen for your life. So we know that we open up our finances, and then we understand that we need to we need to open up ourselves and set goals for the course forward into our future. We do that in the present moment. So I took the word goals and I broke it down. G means granting. O means opulence. And A means abundance. And the L stands for lavish. The S stands for support. So granting, opulence, abundance, and lavishness of support from the universe. When I'm setting goals from that present moment, I am granting opulence, and opulence is basically another word for richness. I'm granting opulence, wealth, and abundance to be lavishly poured on me by the support of the divine. And this is what I'm choosing. By making room, I am giving space, and I'm creating a vacuum that's drawing that beauty and that abundance into my life. And once again, abundance and prosperity is not just about money. It's about fulfillment. It's about your dreams coming true. It's about your business that you wanted to start, being able to do it, and things lining up for you to do that. But abundance and prosperity in your relationships, quite possibly the most important thing is to have abundance and prosperity in our relationships. But I said I would segue a little bit toward money and just tell you kind of what's been happening to me. So let's talk about money. And let me share a few things with you that you may know, that you may just not have thought about, and see if this resonates with you. Because when we're talking about keys to the kingdom and we're talking about abundance, I think it's important for us to get a proper understanding of money so that we can begin to direct it to serve us. So first of all, money is a human invention. It's a game we've created and we've agreed to play. But so often we forget its absurdity. Let me see. I think the right word would be, it's absurd how much we worship it. But I think often we forget how arbitrary it is, how made up it is. The more we become entangled in the illusion, the heavier life feels. And that heaviness overshadows the joy that all of life was intended to have. The universe wants to support and facilitate that joy in our life, but it gets overshadowed by the heaviness because we're lost in the illusion. At its essence, money, whether it's a dollar bill or it's a bank balance or a digital balance, is just a social construct. It's an invention. And we've built our lives around these symbols, and we have granted them power over our worth, over our value. But the magic lies in our collective belief in its value. Can you hear that? The magic only lies in the collective belief in money's value. Now, when that belief falters a little, there's a little bit of doubt or a loss of faith, especially during economic crisis, like we see right now, economic issues. When that happens, we briefly see the absurdity of our devotion to these tokens that we think are so real, whether it's a coin or a piece of paper. By the way, it's made of cotton and it has ink. It's an invention. We've made it up. It is no more valuable than monopoly money. That's what's funny about it. It's no more valuable. The only reason that monopoly money is not as valuable, or we don't think of it as valuable, is because we have not agreed that monopoly money is valuable. But essentially, it's the same thing. It's made up. Historically, most humans traded with gifts and connections. They traded with vegetables and fruits, or with service. They would barter with their abilities. They traded with gifts and connections. not abstract currency. Now we let numbers, can you hear this? Now we let numbers dictate who thrives or who struggles, forgetting that we created this system. This is why I've been saying to us since the first of the year, we've agreed upon the system that we currently have. If we're going to disagree, and apparently we are because people all over the world, thousands, millions possibly, millions, protested. And I put up a video yesterday about protest. Pro means in agreement with, essentially, something. And a test is to look at the quality of the performance of something, especially if you're going to mass produce it. If we're going to protest, then we need to say we're in disagreement with the way things are. And remember that we, who have decided we've allowed these numbers, these dots on a screen, these things we call bank accounts in an app or on a screen somewhere, or a dollar bill or a coin, we've agreed that that has the power to decide who struggles and who thrives, but we've forgotten that we created the system. As I mentioned to you a moment ago, the real trick of money is making us forget that we hold power over it to change it. Markets and economic laws are just human-created constructs. It's not like the law of gravity, but we treat it like it is, and we bow our knee to it, and we pay homage to it. It's a created construct. I'll say it like it comes to me because I'm talking about monopoly money. It is as arbitrary as game rules. And the tragedy isn't in using money. That's not where the pain is. It's in becoming subservient to it. By recognizing that time and money are not inherently real, we reclaim our authority. We decide the meaning and the energy behind our resources. Again, perhaps the greatest trick that money has ever played is making us think it's real. You're the one who's real. You're the one who has the energy and the power. You're the one that has the divine touch on your life. So, what does this have to do with making room? Well, make room by getting rid of the intensity and the density of your service and your loyalty to money. Remind money that it works for you. Don't mistreat it. Jesus even said to make friends of money. He was talking about a different kind of currency during the time, but to make friends of money. So you're not beating it up. You're not belittling it. Not at all. But you don't serve it. It serves you. Somebody pat yourself on the chest and say, money serves me. And money enjoys serving me. One of the reasons I've gotten to the place now where I'm enjoying talking about money is because I finally have realized I've broken free and realized just how arbitrary it is and that this is just an illusion. And if we're going to play in the illusion, that's fine. But be aware that you're playing in the illusion and rather than being played by the illusion. This is what gives you the power to bring heaven and earth together and create a life of abundance and prosperity. Because first of all, you're free from it. And then secondly, then you're able to use it and it will serve you gladly with joy. So make room. Decide you're going to make room by putting your gifts, your talents, your treasure, your time into circulation. Be like the bee that flies over to the flower of this beautiful warehouse of resources from the divine, picks up a portion, and then gives offerings all along the way. As you give back, given it shall be given unto you. How? Good measure. God measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, shall others give to you. It will be, listen, because of the pollination of the bees and them flying around from plant to plant, we have healthy vegetation in this life. And the same is true for you. When you are giving of your time, your talent, and your treasure, you are literally putting it into circulation, which is what it was meant to do to start with. The only reason it continues to live and comes back to you is because you plant it. Unless a seed goes into the ground, it remains alone. So plant those seeds, and watch it grow in your life. I am making room. I am exhaling. I am decluttering. I am spring cleaning and cleansing and making room for the new fruit season, the new harvest season of my life. All right, my friends, the opportunity for circulation is about to come up as well. Given it shall be given unto you, God's measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, shall others give unto you. The ways to give will be on the screen on our way out. Once again, thank you to Danny for being so kind to share with us this forecast for the month. I am excited. I love you all so much. Now go and make it a great day because you